misconduct, including corruption, fraud, absenteeism and maladministration. The department says it looked into more than 220 cases, with most of them having wrapped up already. Let's speak now to the Justice Department's Deputy Director-General Charles Molaba, who joins us in studio tonight. DDG, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. 54 officials in total have been dismissed from the department. Let's quickly deal with the various offences and how serious were these?
Thank you for inviting us to a program today, Xoli. As a Department of Justice, we take these acts of misconduct by the officials of the department very, very seriously. As you have indicated earlier, absenteeism, alcohol abuse, insubordination. But then there's quite a number of cases that involves acts of fraud, acts of corruption across the service centers of the departments, be in the courts, be in the master's office, and some of the centers where justice is being dispensed. And we have taken a position that we are going to have a zero tolerance approach to these matters. And where matters of this nature are detected, certainly the department is going to be taking action, which then led to the numbers that you see and the official statement which has been issued by the department in this regard.
The master's office, it appears to have been the site of corruption, or where, as the term would go, where the eating has been. The understanding is that the Director General has even had instances where he is called by external parties, people who are not within the department, to say to him, why have you suspended so-and-so? Bring them back. Otherwise, there'll be trouble for you. Talk to us about that master's office. How many people have been dismissed relating to issues involving the master's office?
Well, I may not have the numbers of the people who have been dismissed at the master's office, but I think it's important that we indicate to yourselves and the viewers out there that the Director General, Advocate Dr. Mashabane, since his appointment as a Director General, has been fighting this battle. A lot of matters were reported to the law enforcement agencies. There has been investigations that have been completed. As we speak to you and the nation today, we can confirm that the SIU has concluded some of the investigations that have been undertaken by the SIU. And in fact, we can report today to the nation that there are people who have been charged, there are people who have been dismissed.
Charged?
Criminally charged, internally charged within the organization, and those people are now undergoing disciplinary action. Some of them have been dismissed within the Department of Justice, particularly in the master's office. And we must indicate that you might have seen that since the appointment of our current minister, Minister Kupai, she has been very vocal, she has been very open and transparent in relation to some of the shenanigans that are currently happening in the master's office. And I think as a department, we're very clear. We are going to go after those people that are continuing to break the law, to commit acts of misconduct and corruption and bribery within the master's office. And that is the commitment that has been made by our minister since she has taken office.
I did say at the start of this interview that we'll look at other areas. Let's move away now for a moment from people who have been dismissed for offences. Let's talk about safety in our courts. And it is a topical issue because a person was shot and killed inside a courtroom. It's not the first incident of its kind, where even at the Randburg Magistrates Court, a person was shot after having just attended court. So these are acts of intimidation. How seriously are you taking safety inside courtrooms?
Well, as a department, we do take these matters very seriously. We are really saddened about the acts of criminality that are happening outside the premises of the court, and with the latest incidents in Wynberg, which happened literally inside the court building on the 4th floor. It really saddens us that such criminal activities are taking place within the premises where the members of the public are expected to feel safe It's a place where members of the public should use as a sanctuary, a place where members of the public and other role players should actually feel safe in. In this instance, we must indicate that the department shall be developing a plan in this regard regarding the issues of safety. Well, there are issues that relate to the budget limitations. Certainly, we want to ensure that we work with our stakeholders in the criminal justice system, firstly to ensure that there is enough and sufficient cameras within the courts. We want to make sure that there is sufficient physical security in the courts. We want to make sure that there is sufficient X-ray machines in the court. Yeah. We also want to ensure that where there are instances working together with the SAPS, the NPA, and all other relevant stakeholders, where there's high-profile matters, or where we're seeing that this matter is bound to be a high-profile matter, certainly we'll put in place the necessary mechanisms. And I think as a department, we're really learning hard now with the latest incidents of the shooting in the Western Cape, and really, we are really intending to change the situation around.
Just a curious question. Who takes immediate responsibility? Who should be held accountable for lapses in security? Because the understanding is that in Wynberg, a metal detector simply was not working, and that's why a person could walk inside a court with a gun.
Yeah, well, at this stage, we must indicate as a department that the investigations are still ongoing. We're not quite certain at this stage what might have happened in terms of the gun being brought into the premises, whether the gun was brought through the gate or whether the gun was brought through other means inside the premises of the court. And I think as a department, we're still going to rely on the SAPS and the other law enforcement agencies to conclude on the investigations. But certainly, our view has always remained that the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, working with our stakeholders, certainly will remain responsible for making sure that the public and any other employee in the courts and all other service centers remain safe in this regard. And I think this incident has really revealed the shocking lapses that we've seen, as much as this one has happened and occurred in the Western Cape province.
Yeah. I'd like to move the conversation then to magistrates. And the magistrate Toinette Olivier from the Eastern Cape. Are you aware of her withdrawing from a case involving a disbarred lawyer, Zugonongumba?
Well, I've seen that matter in the media, but certainly we have not received any report as a department. I'm quite certain that the Magistrates Commission, which is a body responsible for the appointment of magistrate, might be seized with this matter, and certainly I think the Commission is looking into this matter.
How effective is the Commission? And I'm asking you this question because there have been many other incidents involving the conduct or behavior of magistrates. And I'm saying this to you having spoken to an organization that watches the judicial space, judges matter, and they're quite clear that this matter should not be overlooked or simply dismissed, that, well, the magistrate has recused herself. This has serious implications for what this lawyer is facing. This is a person who is alleged to have stolen from children who simply can't do anything for themselves. These are physically challenged children. The inserts have been compiled by fellow media colleagues where you see the state of these children. How could this magistrate do such a thing? Because this case effectively starts from scratch. Are you concerned about this?
Well, yes. I think if the allegations are correct, again, these bodies in this country were seized with dealing with, regulatory bodies were seized with dealing with the professionals. We have the Legal Practice Council, that deals with the conduct of attorneys. So any member of the public or any other body or entity in the country has got the right to report that attorney to the LPC, the Legal Practice Council, for action to be taken.
I'm sorry to cut in, but the Legal Practice Council, as regards the conduct of the lawyer, they've done their part. That's why he is disbarred as a lawyer. He's not allowed to practice as a lawyer anymore. And so the matters now had moved to the court to try and look into his conduct and whether indeed this amount of 45 million rands that he is alleged to have stolen, if indeed it did happen. And so that's what he was being held accountable for, only for the magistrate to pull off the case. And you should know the implications of that. You are the official from the Justice Department. I'm less knowledgeable about those.
Yeah. No, look, I think what we can say as a department is very clear. The Magistrates Commission is seized with those matters. There is a committee within the commission that deals with the conduct of magistrates. Of course, any member of the public has a right to approach the commission to deal with those matters. I think we must indicate clearly that even today, there has been a discussion in Parliament called by the Select Committee of Parliament, which then raised the questions around the conduct of magistrates. We are equally concerned about that. We are equally concerned about the reputation of the magistracy. We are equally concerned about the image of the judiciary. And of course, one of the issues that has been raised is the conduct of some magistrates. It may range from bribery, corruption, interfering with the case, or to some extent not being able to issue a judgment, which leads then to a question of injustice on the matter that is being presided by a specific magistrate. Yeah. These are matters which the Commission is seized with. We're providing support as a department to the Magistrates Commission. The concerns that have been raised and which we are raising now, certainly Parliament is equally concerned about that. And the Commission, through its committee that is responsible to bring discipline to the magistrate, is seized with those matters. And of course, as we've seen publicly, across the country now, there's about 7 or 8 magistrates who have been suspended on the issues that relates to their misconduct. Yeah. So we can assure members of the public that in as much as the processes have been a bit slow in dealing with the conduct of the magistrates, it's one of the issues that our minister is concerned with. It's one of the issues that our deputy minister is concerned with. And actually, there's been discussions between the ministry and the commission to speed up and expedite the matters that are before the commission so that there is justice around the issues of the complaints that have been lodged against those affected magistrates.
Yeah. I don't want to come across as though I'm conflating issues, but I just want to get a clear sense from you whether you are confident as to the effectiveness of the Magistrates Commission. And I'm asking you this on the back of what I think was a near protest last year by magistrates who were complaining about them being treated as poor cousins, comparing themselves to high court judges. So if there is that kind of attitude among magistrates, who, or the people that are going to suffer most, is the general public who are seeking justice through the magistrates' courts, not knowing what the individuals who work as magistrates are feeling inside, and that prejudices members of the public. Do you get my question?
We do get your question. Are we concerned about the slow pace of the matters that are before the commission? Of course we are. I think the minister has been very clear, the deputy minister has been very clear on that. The engagement between the department and the commission exactly seeks to address this specific point that we're raising now. So going forward and moving forward with the oversight of Parliament, whether it's the portfolio committee, whether it's the select committee, those are matters that are seized in terms of those respective bodies. In fact, what has transpired today was that the commission is expected to go back to the select committee and provide regular reports on the specific matters that were presented today. And of course, as a department, we have a keen interest in seeing those matters being finalized as quickly as possible. And I'm quite certain that the commission is also positive in this regard to resolve whatever bottlenecks that would have been identified in the system.
Yeah. I think the minister, just finally, the minister would have expressed herself about the performance of the NPA, and I don't want us to belabor that point, but how confident are you that the body or the agency, National Prosecuting Authority, is indeed pulling its weight when it comes to the cases that members of the public are watching with a hawkish eye.
Yes.
And there's one now that is back in the Free State involving the former premier there. There's a number of these that are in the courts. Cases have been falling.
Well, I wouldn't profess to speak on behalf of the NPA, but certainly the minister has engaged with the leadership of the NPA since she was appointed a number of times. I mean, the recent case involving a sexual assault of a child, the minister has actually asked questions around that matter. The minister has asked questions and asked for reports from the NPA on a number of matters that were before the courts. Of course, we do have confidence in the NPA. We do have confidence in the capabilities of the NPA, including the leadership of the NPA. I mean, as it stands now, the numbers are quite are out there where the NPA has recorded conviction rates of in excess of 70% to 80%. And these are real numbers that we see in the various courts across the country. So indeed, we're quite confident in the work that the NPA is doing, and I'm sure they can provide more information in this regard, Xoli.
Would the Justice Ministry want to see the Omotosho case reinstated, and in particular him remaining in the country before that happens? What exactly is your stance relating to that? Because that's another case that's caused a lot of disquiet.
Yeah, well, I think the NPA is best suited to respond to that question, Xoli. I think they're best suited to respond to that question. As you may know, there's a lot of media coverage around that case. I would not want to speak on their behalf, but certainly the matter, as all of us have seen, there has been a judgment and a verdict in terms of this case. And of course, I don't know what will be in the mind of the National Director of Prosecution, but I'm sure she can better express herself in terms of the next steps that we'll be taking going forward.
Charles Molaba, let me thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks indeed for this engagement. The Deputy Director-General at the Justice Ministry or Justice Department, Justice and Constitutional Development Department.